This is what the process looks like. It's proven to be incredibly effective. It's repeatable. It's trainable. And I suggest you get on a similar process, if not the exact process, have it defined, make it make sense for your business. I want to bring up someone that I've been working with for years. We're going to skip this one. If you have time, ask me to send you this video. These folks are walking past at the show. We follow the process, reel them back into the booth. They say no a couple of times and end up going out right in the business. Pretty good video. But I'm going to bring up someone that I've been working with for years. She has a strong background in show and events, canvassing, all kinds of face-to-face, building the team, training the team, recruiting the team, proven track record of success. She and I have worked together for many, many years now. It's been awesome to see the team that she's built. It's just incredible. You know, your big company is, how many, what's the volume you guys are looking at this year? $9 million, okay? And of the $9 million, how much of that revolves around shows, events? 65%. 65%. Now, the repeat and referral business and the yard sign, safe to say some of that originally came from stuff that was originally started at shows, the parents' sources show. So if you think about it, maybe 80% started at a show or event. Okay, incredible. So I'd like to welcome Ms. Megan McGuire from All Weather Seal.
You guys hear me? Okay, I'm going to get started by showing you a little video I have here. And then I'm going to ask why you think I showed this video at the very beginning. I think it's an important message for you to understand if you are going to start a show or an event program, if you already have one and you want to maximize those efforts. I think it's important for you to see this and see why it makes so much sense, not for us only, but also our customers.
I'm Rich Farini.
And I'm Dawn Farini.
We live in Frankfort, Michigan. We had single pane, original 50-year-old windows replaced with the modern double pane windows. There's 13 windows, including the big picture window in the front. There was a home show at the Benzie County High School. So we just went over there to pick up some free food and maybe get some ideas.
We had looked at replacement windows at some of the stores like Menards and Lowe's, but we came to realize that our windows were not standard size. So we liked the idea that All Weather Seal made custom size windows just for our cabin.
Came here right on time on first day, and they worked really hard. I came back early the next morning and actually had to stay till about 9 o'clock to finish up, but they were very meticulous.
This is great. We should have done it years ago.
Wrapping up, can anybody guess why I wanted to show you that video at the very beginning?
They didn't go to the show.
Amen. They did not go to the show looking for windows or siding or roofing or anything else. Believe it or not, they went there to get some free food and get some ideas. Okay? What I want you to understand is it doesn't matter why they come to the show. What matters is they're at the show. The other thing I want you to also remember, and it's important for your marketers to remember this, at the very end, did you hear what she said? We should have done this years ago. Amen, right? We should have done this years ago. My marketers are professional problem solvers, and they know it because these people had window problems for years. They said, yeah, you know, we were thinking about doing windows for quite some time, and we just, thought about it, kicked it around, but never really put anything into action. Because with a lot of these people, especially when we're not at a home show type environment where they came there looking for home improvements, you have to remember that a lot of these people were competing not against other companies, we're competing against apathy. We're competing against the homeowner wanting to put the project off one more year, right? One of the great things that Tony alluded to during the need building is the who, what, when, where, why, and how. One of the most important questions in there is how long have you been experiencing this issue? Something happens in the homeowner's mind when you say that. If you're at a show or an event, you've probably seen this before. You ask the homeowner, how long have you been dealing with these issues? And all of a sudden they do one of these. Huh. I guess. Well, we've owned the house 5 years. I guess, yeah, since we moved in, we knew the windows were bad, right? It's also very powerful for your sales team, okay? Because in the close, when they want to wait one more day and give you the think over, they've been thinking for how long? 5 years, right? So it's important to remember that, and it's important for your sales staff to understand that as well. So I met Tony back in 2007. My first big home improvement role was at a company in Schoolcraft, Michigan, and Tony showed up to teach me about canvassing. I knew nothing about canvassing. I knew a lot about sweepstakes because I did it for campground resort memberships for years when I was younger. And I met Tony, and we had a great time canvassing, including we went out to the field and we hit a deer on our way back from the field. So, you know, if anybody's had Tony visit their company, he usually drives himself to the field. This one time, right, he wanted to ride with us. That's the last time he rode with us anywhere, right? He'd had enough. So Tony and I have remained friends for over 10 years now. He's been instrumental in my growth as a marketing professional, just as an overall person as well. Then in 2010, I was fortunate enough, thanks to Tony, to end up at a company of integrity, a company that believed you could make a dollar and also make a difference at the same time. So when I got there, the owner of my company is now one of my closest friends, and he's an amazing leader. He's taught me more about business than I ever thought possible. Together, we have grown the company from 1.7 million in 2010 to this year we're going to net over 9 million. 2018. We've built an amazing marketing department. We have amazing marketing leaders. We also have built an amazing sales force that we've built together, and that's also been pretty awesome. But most importantly for you all is the fact that we have done all of this growth with 0 TV, 0 radio, 0 print, 0 billboards, 0 direct mail. All traditional forms of advertising. And you know, Tony alluded a little bit about it earlier. One of the most important things is to have a healthy marketing mix of different lead sources coming into your company. And you know, what was interesting too is Brian had brought it up earlier. When you're kind of a one-trick pony and you have one thing that you're good at, especially if it's something like billboard, radio, TV, where you're spending a bunch of money and then sort of hoping the phone rings, right? If that's the only thing you do, what happens when people stop shopping? They stop calling, don't they? If you can make a lead out of nothing, if you can show up and create leads where there were no leads, right? You'll never, ever, ever run out of business. And that's why this lead source is so important. So how did we do that? We did that with show and event marketing. My company does over 300 shows and events per year. Over 300. Now, obviously we do the big home shows, which we do well. One of the reasons we do home shows well is because we're training for home shows the rest of the year on fairs, festivals, expos, events. If you're only doing home shows, you're going to be rusty when home show season comes around. If you do shows and events, even a couple, all year round, your team is constantly practicing for the big show, right? So that's another piece that'll help you out. We also do expos. We do fairs, festivals. We just sold a 20-pounder out of a dog walk this week, okay? Cash, right? Ladies' night out. That's a big one for us. If you can do anything fun with ladies' night out, I highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun, get a ton of business, and it's just a fun way to interact with the community. We do a lot of craft shows. In December, we live on craft shows and previous customers. That's it. Tons of craft shows. We sold a $100,000 cash deal at a craft show 2 years ago. It cost me $20 to get in. Just to give you an idea. We also do community fundraisers. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Flea markets and farmer markets. Last year we netted $6.7 million. More than 65% of it was in show and event marketing. The investment to get into these shows starts at about $10, depending on the size of show. So if you're a business owner, or you're a marketing manager whose bonus or pay structure is based on staying under budget, telling you what, this is beautiful. You can get to a show for $10, $20, $50, and I'm going to show you with real life numbers how that works for us later on here in the presentation. But all the way up to 10 grand if you're getting 8 to 10 booths at a big trade show or big home show. We do those as well. So average annual marketing costs, fully loaded. Okay, and I'm talking booth fee, payroll, bonus, salaries, rent to the building, vehicle payments, gas, every single thing that it costs to put this type of program on. Fully loaded lead costs 13%. Some months we'll end up 6, 7, 8%. Some months we're 14, 15. We average out about 13% for the year. This is the key to it, guys. It's a 4-letter word not a lot of people like. W-O-R-K. Right? There is no magic formula to this type of thing. It's work. We put in a lot of effort, a lot of time, and it's a lot of work. But I'll tell you what, anything that's worth having, is going to take some work. And it's also a lead source that cannot be taken from us at any point in time by any downturn in the economy, or if radio and TV gets even more expensive than it is already. We have some options here that allow us to make a lead where there wasn't one to start with. I broke it down to 5 big keys to success, what I think has been the most powerful for us in order to develop the current team that we have and continue to grow year after year. Number 1, Tony just touched on it, following a disciplined lead generation process. We like Tony's, works very well. We tweak very few things. We're pretty much right on point with exactly what he does because I've tested probably 2 or 3 different systems and his seems to work the best. I am not, just to give you guys an idea, I am not romantic or connected to any sort of lead generation. The only thing that matters to me is the result. So, if events works great, fantastic. If another lead generation works great, fantastic. But am I getting the results? That's the question I have to ask myself. Number 2, Bob touched on it, did a beautiful job earlier this morning, the people. You can have the greatest process on earth, but if you don't have the people working the shows to be motivated, excited, and really invested in the company culture that Bob Quillen talked about this morning, then you're not going to get the results that you could. So it's an important part is the people. We're going to talk about that. Number 3, Tony touched on this, the booth look and theme. So if you're at a golf show, you better have something golfy in your booth, right? If you are at fair and festival, why do people go to fairs and festivals? Have fun, play games, win prizes. Guess what your booth better have? Games, fun, prizes, right? You can go to the dollar store and get prizes. This isn't rocket science, and it's not super expensive. It just takes a little bit of thought, a little bit of effort to think of ahead of time, okay? Number 4, management of the leads and numbers after the appointments are set. Myself and all the marketing managers that I train, we know our numbers to a T. We know exactly how many issues. We know exactly how many demo. We know exactly how many sell. We know our average ticket. We know what we're going to lose on cancellation and finance reject. We know all of those numbers very well. So a lot of it is managing the leads after they come in the door after the show and continuing to nurture those. We're going to talk about how we do that. Number 5 is logistics and coordinations of the shows and contracts. When I first started at All Weather Seal, I did all of that. And as we grew, I found someone that I delegated my weaknesses to and hired someone that takes care of all of that for me now. And it's an amazing, it's sort of a machine now. Should we pump out X amount of shows? We'll try new ones from time to time. Some of the old ones, if we didn't make any money, we may not do them again. But that takes a lot of management, and it takes a specific person that has that skill set dedicated to that specific task. So, following a disciplined lead generation process. We're excited about the process in my company. Last week we had a guy come in from Dale Carnegie training. We had this fun little exercise we did, and this was one of our event marketers. This is how excited he is about the process.
Yeah. I am committed and enthusiastic about trusting and working through the process.
Yeah. Right? So our marketing and our leadership and our sales meetings are like pep rallies. It's got to be. We get so much rejection from homeowners that you better find a way to get people fired up, right? It's important. So Tony talked a lot about a disciplined process. A couple of the things I want to share with you guys that's really made the difference for us. has been specifically the rage to engage. The rage to engage. And I'm going to show you how that's done and not done so well today. First and foremost, we talk to every single person that walks by our booth. Every single one. And what Tony said is so true. You can't just say, hey, I got windows. Who wants to come in and look at windows? Hey, come on in here. Don't let my boss think I'm looking bad. Come on in here, right? That doesn't work. Why? Because it's a very simple principle. People do what's in their best interest. If you have nothing of value, they're not going to stop. If you have nothing that they seem even this much interested in, whether it's a game, whether it's a giveaway of some sort, whatever it might be, you're not going to get enough of them to stop. So it's important that, first of all, you engage every single person. Second of all, we use non-threatening terminology. Hey, if you were to win it, what do you think you'd choose? We use Tony's product selection chart, works beautifully. And I have to tell you as well, it's not necessarily the first engagement with the customer that gets them. I'd say about 70% of the time, it's the secondary question. Meaning, if you do this and this is all you do day in, day out, you know the objection the customer is going to give you as soon as you engage them. You already know the first thing they're going to say is, I'm all set. I'm all set. Right? Or they just ignore you completely, which is even better. You know, we just chase them down the aisle. No, well, sometimes, depends. But specifically, you know, we're all set. No, I already had all that done. Oh, I already have windows. And I'm, wow, you guys already have windows? Imagine that. We already have a roof. Really? There's not a big gaping hole on top of your house? Serious? You got a roof already? You're kidding me, right? Because again, you have to remember the customer hears about 10% of what you're going to say. So it's got to be concise. It's got to be to the point. The first thing we try and do is engage them with either a game, which I'm going to go over in a minute. We do all kinds of different games in our booth. But specifically, when people walk by, we'll say, hey, have you guys heard about what we're doing with the big giveaway? Well, no, what's the big giveaway? They heard free, right? I say, well, we're giving away 15 grand in home improvements. We do it every December. It's free dinner. And sometimes they'll go, and I'll say, well, great. Hey, before you go, if you were to win it, though, if I had to check right now, what would you choose? Windows, huh? Imagine that. Now, out of all the things, what makes you pick windows? Need them. Fantastic. This is the easy one. You guys hear that? Said he needs them. Boy, wish you were at every show. That'd be great, right? So normally we get, they'll pick some, I don't know, windows. But see, the thing is that if they're not going to enter my giveaway, I have to find something that is non-committal, that they can just go, that, right? But once I am engaged with them, once my marketers get them into the booth and we start having this conversation, and they've been trained, remember, they do this, we do 7 to 8 shows a week. So they're used to this, okay? Once we can get them engaged and they start telling us the needs, they set the lead themselves. There's no pushing. We don't have to push. It's pull, not push. Serve, not sell, right? Same thing with us. When we bring them into the booth, we're like, hey, if you want to win, great. If you don't, hey, what would you choose? And pretty soon, they forgot all the buyer resistance that they had planned, right? And all of a sudden, they're in this conversation. Well, I guess you're right. I guess we do kind of need them, and we have been thinking about it. So, what the heck? Sure. I guess you guys can come out, right? And that's what happened to the people in the video on the first slide, right? And now they're super excited and wish they would have done it sooner. Remember that? We use fun games and prizes to get prospects to stop, which I'm going to go over. We use secondary questions. We also use the law of reciprocity. Robert Cialdini wrote a book. It was all about the law of reciprocity. It's one of those things that we use. If you give someone something, they're going to feel indebted to then do something for you. So at shows where it's tough to stop people, where you have a higher end demographic, beer and wine and food festivals are one of those. Your typical, hey, stop for my giveaway, doesn't work at that show for us, right? But we figured that out. So thanks to Tracy from Hurls, who gave me an idea, we have little wine openers made for, 16 cents a piece. If I go to hand those out to people, my chances of getting them to enter my giveaway and give me their information, in other words, is much better than if I'm just trying to talk about what I want. Does that make sense to everybody? So one of the things I wanted to show you, and you can't see it very well on this slide, but this was at a home show this year, the Kalamazoo Home Show. This was my neighbor's booth. This was our booth. Can't see it too well, but same guy. This guy and this guy is the same guy. And he's looking, and the rage to engage is so real. He's looking right into my competitor's booth. 1, 2, 3 people are looking at my competitor's booth. And are they anywhere to be found? No, they're over here in the corner, talking amongst themselves, right? And it's way bigger than just business we're generating today. what I want you guys to really truly understand is when people pay $10 or $15 or $20 to get into a trade show, they're paying for that experience. And we owe it to them to talk to each one. We owe it to them. The people. Nothing is more important, process and then people. We have people motivated by a pay plan that pays them enough hourly to show up. And that's about it. Then we pay them demo and sale bonuses based on their performance. We also pay them a volume bonus at the end of the month when we add up all the volume that their leads have brought into the company. That is what makes them talk to every single person, right? They are out there, they are junior salespeople, junior closers. I'll tell you what, if we want to talk about recruiting too, there's no better flood of qualified candidates into the sales force than a bunch of marketers that have mastered it. Because they're selling too, they're just selling appointments. But if you think about it, appointments are time. And so time really is just as important, especially in today's market when the average consumer has the attention span of a goldfish.
I like that we're a family-owned Main Street mom and pop shop that helps people get home improvement done on their house the right way the first time. I love the conversations that I get to have with people, learning about their lives and the things that they want to do in their home, not just what they're going to do on the home. I started here as a 17-year-old high schooler that wouldn't stop calling, and finally they hired me. And then I became an event marketer, where I would go to different shows around West Michigan and talk to people and find out about what home improvements they're interested in. I love how much they pay me. I've never had a job with so much opportunity in my life. I have learned a thing or two here that I'll probably take with me for the rest of my life.
It's not about the money, that's just one portion of it. But, you know, Tony also referenced Simon Sinek earlier. Customers will never love a company until the employees love it first. When we talk to every single homeowner at the show, okay, there's no doubt that our employees believe in our solution. We believe absolutely 100% that if you have a window siding or roofing project and you live in our service area, that we are the best possible solution. And therefore, our marketers know that they owe it to the customer to close them. They owe it to the customer for our reps to get in front of them. Because if we don't get them, if somebody else does, and maybe they're not of the same integrity as our company is, we've all heard those stories, right? That's the last thing we would want. And then if 10 years later the customer has to do the project again, and we see them again, we're going to feel pretty bad that 10 years ago we let them slip through our fingers, right? A couple other things. Part of keeping our employees motivated is an amazing work culture. We pour into our employees. We teach Dave Ramsey financial peace. Why? Because we give young people a lot of money, and they didn't know how to manage it. So we can either complain about it or we can be part of the solution, which is let's teach them how, right? We bring in Dale Carnegie. We have the training system that I just showed you guys. We do a lot of fun things that really pour into our employees and let them know how much we're not just developing an events team, but we're developing them as people, kind of like how Bob talked about earlier. It's important because they can go anywhere and get a job. But when they come and they're part of this environment, they sit in the interview and they really realize the opportunity that's in front of them, then you have a whole different employee than just the guy that's here for $10 an hour. They thrive off of competition and incentives. They will bet on anything. Our team, last night we had a salesman that closed a 30-grander early in the day, and I know the salesman very well. I said, he's going to sell that 7 o'clock too. I guarantee it. Of course, my employees are sitting here with me and say, hey, how much you want to bet on that? I said, whatever, $5, $1. I won. He sold another 30-grander last night after that. So, sorry, Lakota, he lost. But they thrive off of competition and incentives. Okay, anything we can do to make it fun. Remember, they're getting their teeth kicked in all day long at the show or event. So you got to make sure that what we're doing on the end of the employer is keeping them going and keeping them excited and making them laugh and offering them, you know, fun things to hit those goals. Another thing is they believe 100% in being problem solvers, which is part of Tony's process. Which is part of Tony's process is being able to solve that problem. All of their leaders and trainers lead by example in the field. Every single marketing leader we have has done it successfully at a high level before they move into that position. The booth look and theme. So I'm going to go through this a little bit, but we do a lot of the stuff Tony talked about. We have spin to win down here on the right. What you'll see is we have a colorful wheel right here. And when a customer walks by and we say, hey, you want to come play my game? And then we turn around and we walk directly to the game, the customer almost always follows. Even if they don't want to, they just go, oh, okay. You know, because very few people can fight their subconscious when you ask them to do something like that and assertively do it. We have guessing games. Up here we have a little game where we shoot animals off the metal roofing display at the hunting shows, right? So little kids come up with their little gun and they get to win a prize if they knock the animals off. We got Plinko. Plinko is very powerful because if you can get something in the customer's hand, it's like a tether, okay? It can't go anywhere. You give them a Plinko chip, right? And I say, hey, you want to play our game? They don't even know what it's for. They go, oh, okay. I say, great, come on, right? The point is we have them in the booth and now we have an opportunity. When they're outside of the booth, they're in their space. When they're in the booth, they're in my space. Now I can ask them what I want to ask them without being, you know, without invoking too much fire resistance. Some other fun stuff we do. We have girls' night out. I've got a bunch of guys that dress up in hula skirts. That's always fun, right? Right here. They do whatever it takes to get the lead, you know, even embarrassing themselves. We have a photo booth that we set up at that same show with a backdrop, right? Then we have an Instagram frame and everybody uploads it to their social media. So it's two ways. Not only are we getting the leads, but now we're getting in front of all their friends when they post the pictures. Christmas and craft shows. You better have Christmas decorations, right? You want to look like part of the show. We have a Santa hat on our display box. We have Christmas lights around the Enter to Win. It's important to keep with the theme. Over here we have a face and hole board for a movies night out at a girls' night out event we did up there in the right corner. If you have any shows that'll let you do booze, that's great. This is one up here. Girls' night out, they love to come and have drinks and hang out with their friends, and they like to sign up for stuff, especially after they've had a few to drink. This was our Kentucky Derby theme. We were playing beer pong through the window, right? We had all kinds of fun stuff. At first I thought, you know, our demographic isn't going to like beer pong. I was wrong. They love it, right? They come in and they get to win beads. Beads are my other, anything else, they love beads. If you have beads, the old ladies come in, they want to play the game, they win beads, all their friends go, where'd you get those beads? Oh, down at the booth down there. Oh, great. All of a sudden, where's my beads? Great question. Enter my giveaway, then I'll tell you about it, right? Tony talked about the auto show and the treasure chest. So last year and the year before, what you'll see up here is we would hand people keys on these little card things right at the front of the auto show. So we ended up netting over 90 grand off of the auto show after that. We had this little treasure chest. They try their key, and then we'd have a prize. We gave away drones one year, which was awesome. That was a big thing. And I actually have a guy that did a testimonial. He said, you know, I just showed up because you guys were giving away a drone or something. Fantastic. And he bought a steel roof and 2 windows. So, you know, you just never know. But this is, you know, another little, our booth is packed at the auto show. We don't have a lot of auto stuff, but how you have to think is people that would enjoy an auto show, what else would they enjoy? They like toys, right? So a drone would be a cool thing. It's not something that people really will buy for themselves. Giving back. If you can partner with anybody in the community to give back as part of your event strategy, I highly recommend it for a couple of reasons. Number one, the best marketing strategy ever. One of my mentors here, Gary Vee, always says, best marketing strategy ever is care, right? So Pink Arrow, this is the project we do in Lowell. It's a breast cancer awareness thing. Tony talked to you about the balloons. What we would do is we would have this little board set up with all these balloons on it. I had fake money in every single balloon. So all the kids and all the family members would come up, and they'd get to pop a balloon. Then that amount of money of the fake money we would keep on a dry erase board and tally it all day long. And then at the end of the day, we donated all that money to the Pink Arrow Foundation. So in the meantime, people happen to be going, oh, we really like that. You know, you guys do a lot of work with the community. We've been thinking about this one window. Weird. Fantastic. We happen to be right place at the right time, and it's a win-win because not only do we get to earn their business, hopefully for a lifetime, but we also get to give back to the community. Over here, we had another fundraiser. A little boy close to our office had brain cancer, and sad story, but we ended up raising enough money to send them on a family vacation. They would do a couple of fundraisers for their medical bills, and we partake in those as well. Whatever you can do to really get in and give back, because you know it's not just about what we make, but it's also about what we give. And that's a big part of our company's story and the way that we want to give back. It's also a great way when you're recruiting employees, if you can show them that everything that they do is going to make a difference, not only at the company, but in the community, holy cow, what a great why from the inside. What not to do. Sorry if any of these booths are in the room, but I couldn't help myself. And really the reality is they just don't know, you know. If they only knew then what we know now. This kid actually used to work for us, but he's sitting behind a table on a phone. If you'll notice at shows, that's what all your competitors are doing, and you gotta separate from the herd. This guy here is sitting behind a window and has a fishbowl where he wrote 3 estimates. He's hoping for the best, okay? Now, is he gonna get a couple leads? Sure, he's at a home show, of course he will. This guy down here, this is my favorite horror story. It shows and events. He had a table and literature and didn't want to talk to anybody. And everyone says, well, what company is that? I said, that's a great question. We don't know. that should already tell you what you need to know, right? But if they only knew then what we know now, right? Managing the leads and numbers. Leads come in 3 different forms for us. At shows and events, I start out with that giveaway and the sweepstakes because I have a call center that operates at a very high level on sweepstakes leads. So we have those sweepstakes leads. The next thing that we have are set appointments that are live and set in person at the show by the event staff, as well as our button up. And then we also have call-to-sets. That means that we tried to set the appointment, but for whatever reason we got shut down. We have all the information except for the appointment time. So all of those leads that we don't set at the show go into our call center, and then we continue to follow up on those. It's way more effective than buying a list, and I'm not sure if people have an interest in home improvements or not, but I've got a bunch of sweepstakes leads where they said, I want to win. There's a reason that they want to win. Planner reviews are very powerful. I'm sure Tony's going to talk about that, but we monitor exactly how many are set, how many appointments confirmed, how many demo, and then how many sell. The reason is because each column, if there's a drop in a number from industry standard of what it should be, there's a different problem to solve. Meaning if you don't get second phone numbers, you're going to have a low issue rate. If we fix the issue rate, we're getting in all these leads, we can, multiply the amount of demos that we're having just with what we're already doing, just by changing a couple of things like email addresses, second phone numbers, things like that. Each appointment is given an appointment reminder and a pre-positioning packet. So we use the same appointment reminder Tony does. I also send them home with this piece of literature that has our insurance, license, Better Business Bureau report, a bunch of things on warranties and some other items. So if you want to know more about that, see me after. I brought a couple. We do weekly planner reviews to hold our employees accountable. Logistics and coordinations. My event coordinator's name is Julie. She's organized and I'm not. So get a Julie, okay? That's the reality. Get a Julie. She's amazing. We keep track on the Outlook calendar of every single show, what it costs, what the hours are, setups, teardowns. You're doing 7 or 8 shows a week. You got to keep track of that stuff, right? She also keeps track of how full we are and where the different shows are so we can make sure each of our markets has enough leads for that period of time. Actual factual numbers. So here's a show we did in 2017. A car/craft show outside called 2017 Back to the Bricks Car and Craft Show. Cadillac, Michigan. Cost me $150 to get in. We got 22 slips. We set 5 appointments. We had 1 call to set. We netted $51,000, and here's the numbers for Market Shark. Thanks, Tim, for a great program. In order to show you. So we netted 51 grand off of that 1 show. Here's some more numbers I have. And, I don't know if you can see it from here, but we have craft shows, band booster show, which you would never think in a middle school gym would, be a real hot lead source. Guess who's not there? Any other home improvement company, which is beautiful. It means it's a non-competitive lead. Giant Spring Flea Market netted 71 grand in 2017. Giant Spring Flea Market. That costs, I don't know, $75 to get in. How does this affect future business? Well, a couple of the things is, we do a lot of business off of previous customer. I love what Brian had said earlier, talking about previous customer business because it is the lowest cost lead source. The other thing you have to remember is when we see these people at shows, you know how powerful it is to your marketers and your entry-level guys for them to write an appointment, and then someone sees them at a show 2 months later and says, we got your roof, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We remember you. And they want to take a picture with you, like Lakota and these fine ladies over here, right? They said, we love our new roof, and we just appreciate you taking the time at the show a couple months ago, and we're so happy we had you come over. And all of a sudden, this thing comes full circle. And the event marketers understand what their purpose is. It's not just about being out there writing leads, but it's about helping people. So we do, last year we netted over $800,000 in previous customer business. And a lot of that we got from shows and events, as Tony alluded to. And then A lot of it too is they will show up, as you can see right here, to our shows and events. We love you guys. Can you guys imagine how awesome it is at a home show to have one of your previous customers as a raving fan in the booth when the other ones are walking by? Oh, it's beautiful. They're holding these 100% satisfied signs. Everybody else going, what's that? What's going on over there, right? They come in the booth and, oh, we were going to call you guys. We need a door. Fantastic, right? That's about all I have. Anybody have any questions? Yes.
Any tips on finding more events locally?
Yeah. Hire somebody to do it. No, you gotta look. That's what I did. But no, but there's so many different avenues. I mean, there are websites for, MichiganEvents.com. There are community expos. The best part of it is if you're involved in the community, you'll already be aware of a lot of these things. Being members of chambers of commerce that put on events. They do a women's lunch and learn. You should sponsor the lunch and learn, right? Facebook is obviously a great tool. All the events that people put out. We do a lot of yard signs. A lot of these smaller shows, you'll just be driving around and you'll see a yard sign that says big flea market this weekend. And then you'll look it up online and find out who the show producer is. And if you can really make good relationships with those people, even better, even better. So it's kind of like recruiting, like Tony said, it's not a one thing, like we can go online and search, but there's 100 different avenues. The other thing is if your marketers are at shows, I incentivize them to find other shows. So if they're there at this show and then they hear about another show because you're around 50 vendors that all do shows, that's another great opportunity. Yes?
Is there a certain size of booth that you'd recommend?
Most of what we do is 10 by 20. Bigger shows will do 10 by 20s, or like we had 8 or 10 at the home show this year. But it just depends. I mean, each show is different. Some will give you a 6 by 8, some will do a 10 by 10. And display pieces are important, but really what's the most important is using the process and having the people that are trained in the booth more than the size. So good question.
Finding more events, you got to get creative. There's ways to do it. Food trucks, right? If you become, like Megan was saying, success breeds success. The more shows you get involved with, now all of a sudden you start to find vendors, and these vendors start to tell you, we're doing a show next weekend doing this, right?
And a lot of them are small.
Porta potties. Where do you deliver all those porta potties? Call the porta potty company. Find out where they're delivering this weekend. There's ways.
And you have to remember, with the smaller shows, they don't have a lot of money. So if you're willing to come in and give them $50, sometimes they're so happy about that it's ridiculous. So, yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about what benchmarks you use through the funnel, like how many, what your conversion rates are?
Yeah, are you going to talk about that in fundamentals or no?
Every company is going to have different metrics on their conversion rates. So if you want to talk specifically with Megan about those conversion rates at the break, please feel free to do so. But generally speaking, when you're doing things like Megan's doing, and you're really getting out there, you're going to craft festivals and fairs and different things like that, you're not going to issue 80% of the leads. It's not going to happen, right? And in order to issue 50% of the leads, you're going to need a call center to facilitate, or at least a couple of calls.
Sure. Yes.
Do you mind saying what your basic pay plan is for the
Sure, yeah. They get paid $10 an hour to show up, and they get $20 for every qualified demo. It means our rep goes out to the house. It's not a one leg. And if there's a landowner, of course, and we present to them, they get $20 for each of those. We make 1% on the net sales that result from that. At the end of the month, we give them an additional bonus based on volume. The only kicker is, and this is how you stay under budget, there's a qualification that they have to meet. Meaning I need one demo for every X amount of hours they work, depending on what kind of show it is. Home shows, they should be getting a demo every 3 to 4 hours or less. And then you're looking at fairs and festivals every 10 hours or so. As long as they're hitting those benchmarks, we give them the bonuses on top of the hourly.
Yeah, that's the biggest mistake people make in compensating marketers in general. I don't care if it's door-to-door, retail,
Exactly.
shows and events, call center. You have to meet the minimum standard. If someone gets one demo in a week, or 2 demos in a week, and you're giving them a bonus for that, you're rewarding bad behavior. So they have to meet the minimum first. It might be 3 demos in a week, it might be 4 demos in a week.
We do it per hour, depending on how many hours
So
they work.
the ratio, if it's 1 demo for every 10 hours on the clock, that is the minimum standard, then they have to be within that guideline before they're eligible for bonuses. But we got to stay tight on the schedule. Becky could be up here all day.